Hi guys, I'm back and today I'm going to be doing a video where I show you how to make your own edible fish tank. So it's not really the tank, it's really just the inside with a glass on top. But this is completely edible, except for the sticks. Most of it's completely edible. You might not have all these things, so yeah, but if you do, it's kind of fun to do when you're bored. Here it is. So let's set this aside so that I can show you what you'll need. Here's a plate. Okay, so the first thing, tortilla. You'll need one tortilla. You normally would want a large one. Now mine has sparkles on it. Table's full of glitter. Okay, so a tortilla. The next thing you'll need is sprinkles. Now there are certain kinds of sprinkles you'll need. Here they are. Gosh, that made loud noise. The ones that you'll need in this thing, you'll want the ones that are like this, so you want the black ones. And you'll want the orange ones. You could also use orange food dye, but you cannot use black food dye because that just won't work for what we're doing. You can use orange food dye though. It's preferable that you use this. So the reason you can't use black food dye is this is because it's for the gravel, and it has to be this certain kind so that it looks kind of like kernels, like that. And then it becomes the bottom of your fish tank. Okay, so as you can see, and you probably would know, this gravel, which is the black sprinkles on the bottom, would not look good if it was just black dye. Who even has black food dye? No idea. Also, you would like some of this kind of sprinkles, or any kind of sprinkles really, just these look best, of green dye, but I didn't have that, so food coloring does work for that. So let's bring this away. Next thing you'll need is honey. So, this is not too much honey. You really do not need too much honey. The reason this much honey is in this is because if you have crystallized honey, you normally want to microwave it to turn it from being crystallized to normal honey again. So that's a tip if you didn't know that. Okay. You'll also need 2 containers. 1, 2. Okay, so the reason I'm using a measuring spoon is because it's just for the dye. You don't really need it if you're using, this is for the green dye, which is for the green seaweed. You can do lots of different variations of what I'm doing. So you might not use green, you might not have seaweed, and you also might use the sprinkles. But if you don't have sprinkles and you're using dye, you need something to put it in. This is for the sprinkles because, at least for the fish, which is what the yellow or orange sprinkles are for, the fish right here, you need to dip it in honey and then dip it in sprinkles. And you're not going to put it in your drawer. That would be really weird. So you need a bowl for it. You do not need a bowl for every single one of these things. You just need it for one of them. Okay, the final thing is... Just kidding, not the final thing at all. There's like lots of things left. Bring this back. The next thing is food dye, green food dye. Again, if you have the green sprinkles, you don't need the food dye. I don't have green sprinkles. I'm using food dye. So that's the next one. And the last thing is a cup. That will be for the top of it, or the bottom, either way. So, technically you don't need a cup. It's just nice to have a cup so that it looks like it's in a fish tank and that your fish isn't being held up by a stick out of water. Okay, let's get ready though. Another reason you're gonna use this in a thing is because you have to microwave it to be able to pour it onto your tortilla. So let's put the tortilla down. That one off. And then we're gonna microwave this for, we pour it some on. You really don't need it on for long. Less than 30 seconds, only like 10. Started at 30. And I'll do 15. Done. Bubbling, hot, and ready. That made it turn like a liquid so that you can pour it. It also smells good this way. I mean, honey always smells good. So now quickly we have to fold this in half like this, and then fold it this way. Then your scissors come in handy. I just noticed, forgot to mention the scissors. You have to cut across. I'm going to do the other side. Now, don't worry. You're not going to be wasting this stuff. This will be saved for later. Set that aside. Now that you have this, it's time for your honey. Emergency honey. Pour just a little bit in each spot. You can use your finger if your finger's clean. Mine is.
I'm so happy to hear from you, and I'm so sad. And then, I mean, I've been happy for girls, but I'm so sad.
Okay, this bit takes a while. This is why you want it warmer. Mine cooled down a lot. It would be more like a liquid after before. There we go. And now that will help to keep them together. Next step is get more honey. Just kidding. I didn't grab enough honey in the first place. Let's grab some more.
Leo, why as soon as I get on the phone you start jumping and causing me pain?
Let's just leave that there.
Naughty.
While we let that sit.
I don't get very much time to talk.
While we let that sit. Oops.
Why were you jumping on me when I was on the phone?
I'm going to put this lid on and let it sit upside down. Then, let's see a trick. All of this is there. You normally do this with cups, but it works either way. So what I'm doing is clap, clap, tap, 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 clap, move right, clap, palm, I don't know what to say. So and then my hand touches. Okay, so now our honey's ready. Another thing that I just noticed I didn't mention is the chocolate chips. You'll need some sort of chocolate chips, preferably not white. And those will make the little, I made them here, little rocks inside. Okay, but now let's get on to adding more honey. So what's happening with mine, it's all crystallized. So that is why I have to microwave mine beforehand. That's just because our honey's old. How am I going to get this off? There. Not as much of a mess as I thought. You should see her lid. Okay. So, now this stuff we're not going to microwave yet. Well, we are because you don't have to unless you have crystallized honey. But you can definitely tell the difference. Over on the edges, you can see a little bit of normal honey compared to our crystallized, which is so much darker. Over here, you can see some. Over here, you can't. Let's stop talking about honey. I think that's a good idea. Let's microwave that. Done. Now you can see it's much clearer. And the sides match. You can also see it's much, oops, more liquidy. Let's clean that up. Let's do that. To speed it up, I'll do this. All cleaned up. Now let's get on. So because we have that, now we just need a little bit on the top. But first, be ready. We'll take our bowl that we're using for sprinkles, pour some black sprinkles in it, which will be your gravel. It's a good idea you pour more than you're gonna use, and then you just put the extra back. The reason for that is makes it easier to pour. I'm using a plate that I can just bring back into the bowl and then put it into that. That way, when I pour these onto that, which is our bottom, that would be this part. By the way, that's just from being on a counter and stuff. Anyways, so now we gotta get our honey on there. See, that's much more liquidy. And I think I put a little too much, so I'm gonna wipe up. Or not wipe off. Yeah, that's warm. You want to get it everywhere so that it really sticks on. And it's not just gonna go in some areas. I learned that last time. You might have noticed. If you didn't, you can go back in the video to notice this and see. Not the whole bottom of the previous fish tank thing was covered. Now to add the sprinkles. I just put them in a pile like that and spread them around. There we go. Now there's going to be lots of excess. But I'm just going to push down to get as many as I can in. And upside down. See, there's extra. But now look at that. Nice ground. Now to put all the sprinkles back. Now that we have all of our sprinkles back in here, I can later put them back into our thing. That way we don't waste any. I'll do that now. There. Now we get to do a pretty fun part. Remember those extra pieces that we cut off of a square? We now get to use those to make fish. So, to make the fish, you can do obviously lots of different shapes and sizes, depending on how big you want this to be. But I'm going to do fairly small ones. You'll need your scissors again. So, I'm just going to start with a little tiny piece. Start with the head over here. then I'm gonna get that edge. Get this other side. And get that edge.
What you eating, baby?
Now I have my fish. It's not finished, obviously, but it will be soon. Set this aside with rest. Well, what will be the rest. I'm just gonna add 2 into mine. I'm gonna add 2. So 1 more. So it doesn't look the best, so I'm just going to kind of adjust it a little bit. There. So that's around the same size. The tail is much bigger. I think I'm going to make the tail a little less pointy at the edges. I mean, it's going to be pointy, but more like this instead of this. Okay, so now that we have our 2 fish, which are here and here, now we need toothpicks. The last item that I forgot to mention. It's preferable that you use the ones that have both sides, but you really can use any. By both sides, I mean both sides are pointy, because some only have one side pointy, and then the other won't be. So you really probably don't need this much, but it's good to have a lot around. So I'm going to start with this fish. So I'm just going to take a toothpick. First I'm actually going to stick it in there. And then, so it's on both sides. You can see the indents from it here. But it's on. If you're not going to have a high fish, then you'll have to break a little bit. But see, there's the difference. But if you're going to have a high fish, then you don't need to break a bit. It's really your preference. I'm going to break mine a little bit like that. But first we have to do the next step. We need our sprinkle bowl again. And now we need the orange sprinkles. If you don't have the sprinkles, like I was saying before, you'll use your dye bowl instead, and then you'll just drop a few dots of dye inside of the bowl, and then you'll use your finger to rub it on. Or paintbrush or something if you don't like it. But for now, I'm using sprinkles. So you need to have your honey,